Starfield just got this big new update. Okay, to be fair, it was almost a month ago now, but look, it took me a while to get around to it, okay? I've been busy. Anyway, some people are calling it Starfield 2.0, but Bethesda says that it isn't, and I don't think I would call it that either. Basically, they added this thing called Freelanes, where you can fly between planets now without having to go through a loading screen, which sounds really cool, but in reality you just kind of bump into these tiny spheres that look like planets, but you can't get any closer to them. Look, I don't want to spend this whole video complaining about my problems with Starfield, because there is a ton of cool stuff I do like in this game. Mainly the shipbuilder, but I reinstalled the game to check out this new Freelanes update, but not Terran Armada because I didn't pay for that. But Freelanes is cool because, you know, you can explore space now in this space game. Only took them 2.5 years to figure that one out. Nice job, Todd. My main goal here was to return to Starfield and see if it's any better now that it's been a few years and it's gotten a few updates. Spoiler alert, it's kind of the same. But I did have a lot of fun, you know, just flying around and going to new locations and finding all these new experiences, so I guess this is a pretty standard Bethesda game where if you just ignore the main story and make up your own adventures, you can have a lot of fun. Oh, and you also need mods. But unfortunately, Starfield is still with a creations page that has a ton of paid mods just mixed in with all the others, so you might see something and be like, whoa, that's a really cool mod, and then you're like, oh, it's $5, I'm not paying for that. Like, I'm not totally opposed to the idea of paid mods, but just seeing that there's a cool mod I want and I have to pay for it, it just kills all my excitement for it. And then there's some where it's like, why are we charging money for this at all? Like $3 for some digital plushies of the characters? Are we serious? And like, see-through scopes is $2. That's dumb if you ask me. Like, that's an essential free mod for Fallout 4. Why is it a paid mod here? But for now, I think I'm just going to ignore this menu. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to stick to Nexus mods if I need any mods, alright? So time to load up my most recent save. Upon loading in, it took me a moment to get my bearings, and oh! Jeez, you scared me, Andrasia. Okay, but seriously though, like, I had to pause for a second to process how uncanny the NPCs in this game look. But apparently we got married?
It is only a matter of time before we conquer the galaxy, is it not?
I had to take a moment to try and figure out what I was doing last time I played and what was going on. I think I went through New Game Plus a few times and then just picked one universe to stay in. The menu is not great, but I did install a mod that makes the menu more compact and that makes it a bit more manageable. I do kind of want to look at some of those other UI mods though, those look cool. Thankfully, I still have my God Shotgun, which is still the most powerful thing in the universe, so that's cool. Also, Amelia Earhart is on my ship. I don't know how, but hopefully she doesn't get eaten by space crabs. Speaking of, this thing is called the Mojo Dojo ship, so that must mean that the last time I played this game was in 2023. Okay, let's actually get into the new stuff now. So, Freelanes works where you activate this thing when you're flying and you just start like zooming through space, and you can fly past the planets, but this makes them look really tiny, and if you get close to one, you just hit an invisible wall, and it just makes these planets feel tiny, and it's like, that's not what the size of a planet should be. It just kind of takes me out of it. I would hope that a space game like this would, you know, play into the idea that, you know, you're just a tiny ship in this massive universe, but instead it just kind of feels like I'm flying a toy around a model solar system. And even if we can't have planet landings like in No Man's Sky, can we at least get something like Star Wars Outlaws where, you know, you can still move around while landing on a planet? That's something I hope the developers can figure out. But while you fly through space, you can find stuff, like this asteroid I came upon. At first, it just looked like a clean mining outpost that was just empty for the day, but then I went into the mine and found a bunch of spacers. No idea who they are or why they're here, but I don't think it really matters. These guys are just fodder for the player to shoot at and loot. But it was still a cool discovery and my first experience with this new content. After this, I went to Tau Ceti 4 to remind myself of a way cooler sci-fi game with better gun design. Honestly though, going from Marathon to Starfield is a bit of whiplash because, while they're entirely different games and I recognize that, they both have sci-fi space outposts and guns, but Marathon just has way better art direction in my opinion. And the guns look way better. Look, I know it's a meme to make fun of Bethesda for their gun designs, but I mean, come on, what are some of these? Then I tried to find Planet Adrian in the system, but I wasn't sure which one it was, and I didn't see any astrophage leading me to it. Can someone mod Ryan Gosling and Rocky in this game, please? After this, I went to New Atlantis, and this city still bothers me because, I mean, this is supposedly the capital of the United Colonies, but it's just like an island of skyscrapers surrounded by a savanna. Like, sure, I don't expect Bethesda to make a whole city planet like Coruscant, but, you know, at least add something to give the illusion that there's more to this city. I mean, it'd be like if New York City was just Manhattan and then nothing else around it for miles. It just doesn't make any sense. Though while I was here, I did get to talk to Vladimir for a bit. I really like this guy, you know, he has this friendly line. He's like, catch a smile out there. And that just makes me smile. I love this guy, you know. He's one of the few NPCs I actually enjoy talking to in this game. But then I spent like half an hour just building a ship. Yeah, I love this part because it's like a puzzle to make everything fit and make it look good while also trying to balance all the stats. I like the Nova Galactic parts the best because, you know, they're the most NASA punk, which basically means they look like believable spaceships and not just generic sci-fi. The final design I went with is basically just a sized up version of the Frontier, but I'm really happy with it. Also, you can now decorate the interior of your ship, which is really cool because I never bothered much with the outpost system in this game. To try out my new ship, I headed to Earth and then took off from what I think is Florida to do my own little Artemis mission. Unfortunately, it's still just a loading screen to get to space, but now with the Freelanes update, you can travel insanely fast, and I boosted once, and I somehow went way past the moon. But then I just turned around, and just like that, I flew from the Earth to the moon in less than a minute. So yeah, eat your heart out, Victor Glover. NASA, please, hire me, I want to go to space so bad. Then I one-upped the Artemis 2 again by actually landing on the moon, which is cool, because there's low gravity and stuff, so I can jump really high. Man, I love the moon. The moon is so cool, man. I fought some nearby Starborn guys because, they just had it out for me for some reason, and going over here made me realize that I don't really like how the moon looks in this game. I mean, seriously though, look at an image of the surface of the moon, and then look at it in Starfield. Maybe some space nerd can explain to me how this is, oh, this is how it would look like in real life. This is actually really scientifically accurate. I don't know. I'm just disappointed. The rocks seem out of place, and it looks far too dark in my opinion. And on the one hand, I'm glad they added more points of interest to explore once you land, but lore-wise, it still confuses me how all these are supposed to be leftover from the Colony War, where, this tiny island city-state waged war against this little gated community, and also maybe there was a crazy death cult involved? Oh, yeah, sorry, honey. But, they all fight and then build bases on every planet and moon in the galaxy, enough that no matter where you land on the planet, you're always surrounded by locations. I get it's better than the empty planets at launch, but I just don't think the lore backs it up enough, so it just really takes me out of the game. And then every location you go to is either raiders, gunners, or pirates. Also, why do the guns sound like this in space? Seriously, this is just so disappointing to me. If anyone knows of a mod that fixes the sounds in space, please let me know about it. They should not, just sound like they're on Earth. It would be cool if they had a system where, if you're in an atmosphere, then, conventional firearms work better, but, lasers aren't as effective, whereas if you're in the vacuum of space, lasers are more effective, because there's no air or something. I don't know, some sort of balance, or another thing to consider when you're getting into combat, oh, what kind of area am I in? What weapon should I use for this? I think that would just give a bit more variety to the combat. Anyway, at this point, I just kinda got frustrated and bored, so I just stopped playing. So to try and rectify some of these issues, I installed some mods the next time I played. First up was this mod I saw on the homepage of Nexus called True Space. Basically, this makes the dark void of space actually dark, which I think is a huge improvement, and I don't think I can go back now. I also installed a mod called Positively New Atlantis, which tries to fix that problem I was talking about earlier. Now, instead of being a city in an empty field, it's the central spoke to this wheel-like layout, and you can see more buildings in the distance. It's a pretty small change in the grand scheme of things, but I think it really helps to sell this idea that, this is the capital, the central point of this big space empire. I, of course, did the logical thing and tried to drive to it, and it really is just a decoration, but still, you can drive on it, so that's cool. I went on a leisurely drive with the missus, and we took potshots of the local wildlife. It was very romantic. But after this, I decided to explore space some more, and I came upon a pirate ship raiding a derelict transport. This was a fun little adventure because the ship's gravity was damaged, which meant I would get put into zero gravity at random as I fought through the pirates. This also helped me navigate, I could float up this elevator shaft to reach the next area. I bullied the pirates up here, then got lost, then made my way through this big wheel thing to open the vault door. Inside the vault, I found some resources, a box of fancy liquor I don't know what to do with, some credits, a magic sword, and X-Tech. This is a new thing they added that lets you upgrade your gear, but with space magic or something. I don't know, no one really cares about the lore in this game. Not even the writers. Eventually I got enough of this stuff to add another legendary effect to my shotgun to make it even more overpowered. Back in space, I found a bunch of spacers just hanging out in their ships, but when I tried to fight them, I kept getting destroyed because there were too many of them. I tried again and again, too many times honestly, but I just didn't have enough firepower, so I just kept dying. So I gave up on that and went back to New Atlantis to say hi to my actual favorite NPC, Nadia Mufaz. She's this reporter for the news, and she's really nice, and she's so cool, and she's really pretty, and she asked me to go interview people for her, so of course I obliged. This sent me to the Well, which is the seedy undercity of New Atlantis, which is apparently crime and poverty-ridden, but all the NPCs look the same as the surface, and it's not like this place is scary, there's no one begging for food or anything, so it doesn't really sell the idea that this place is impoverished. The only reason I know this is supposed to be the case is because 2 of the 3 people I interviewed told me the same things. They all wanted me to do their own side quests, but I didn't feel like it. Also, the doctor sounded like Emma Frost.
Once upon a time, I was a combat medic for the UC Navy.
Oh, yeah, I am dressed up in Genghis Khan's clothes. That's because I killed him and took them. Anyway, I returned to Nadia, and she was really happy, and that made me really happy.
Did everything go all right?
Back in space, I found this guy who wanted me to help him smuggle contraband, but I couldn't remember if there was a particular type of cargo hold you needed, so I turned him down. Soon after that, I found another ship, whose pilot was looking for a wife who took off in a different spaceship. As much as I wanted to help her, I didn't know where to look, and the next thing I came across was another derelict ship. This one had 2 dead people, and it turns out that the captain thought it would be a good idea to plug his brain into the grav drive. It ended how you would expect. But I got to loot them, and I got this Astra thing, which I looked it up. Apparently you give this to a guy at the Trackers Alliance headquarters, and you get a random legendary item. Yeah, this bounty hunting place, they added it like a year or so ago, and there was a new update that launched just recently with the Freelanes update, but I don't know how to start it, and I don't feel like trying. But Nisha was in here. That's kinda cool.
Call me inevitable.
After this, I went to Neon to check out that city, because I remember it being kinda cool, but it turns out it's still pretty boring. Like, the club where everyone goes to do space drugs is just like... I mean, it speaks for itself. So I got bored and started shooting people. Please don't take that out of context. But then my wife had to start lecturing me about why murdering people is bad. So I manipulated her into believing that I'm not that bad. I'm a great husband. So yeah, that was my experience playing Starfield in the Big 26. It's odd. Playing the game makes me want to stop playing it, but then I still want to play the game. I like the concept of Starfield. There's just a lot of things that bug me and make actually playing the game kind of frustrating. It's like the game just begins to scratch the itch of the space game I'm looking for, but it leaves me unsatisfied in the end. If I could think of something, I would make a sex joke here. I think I just need to find a good mod list to get me really hooked in this game, and then I can just avoid the main story entirely. There's this cool alternate start mod I could look into for that. Or I could look into Star Wars Genesis, that big overhaul mod for this game I've heard so much about. But I'm pretty sure that requires a season pass, and I don't have that, so I don't know, maybe I'll try it eventually. I heard the first expansion was kind of boring, but the new one looks kind of cool. There's battle droids, unfortunately no Assaultrons, but and then there's also a new faction to fight, and an actually good gun design. So maybe I'll look at getting these DLCs if I actually get back into the game. And if any of you have any other mod recommendations you think I should try, please let me know, I'll check them out. And if you know of any hidden gems in that creations menu, please let me know too, because I'll try it out unless I have to pay for it. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I know Starfield is not what most of you come to this channel for, but I want to check it out again since it got a big update. Maybe I'll even do a full narrated playthrough sometime if that's something you guys would like to see. Alright, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, all that stuff. Bye.